Yeah, when you were doing those, whatchamacallits in the garage.
He increased the medication.
Yo.
I might peek in between.
No trouble.
Do
Walk
you want a sandwich in between the chairs? Or do you gotta
No,
move
that's
it?
perfect right there. Perfect right there.
Because if you move the chairs together a bit more, I'll just try to remember it's there.
You know what? I'm gonna be breathing on your neck.
You're flirting with my neck.
You can use my shoulder if you like.
So let's look at the roll call, and just so everyone is aware, Mayor Dandak is away on vacation. Regarding the agenda, and any additions to the agenda?
If I could, just under old business, if I could get just an update on the live streaming, please. Thank you.
I'll move adoptions of the agenda as amended.
All in favor? Passed. Carried. Thank you. 4.0, adoption of the agenda, that's been carried. And then moving to 6.1, regular meeting of council, January 24, 2024. Any errors or omissions?
I'll move the adoption of the minutes for the January 24th, 2024 meeting.
Sit here.
For discussion, any errors or omissions? All in favor? Carried. 7.1, accounts paid as of February 12, 2024.
I'll move the adoption of the accounts paid as presented.
Thank you. Any questions? Councilor Harris?
Yeah, I have a couple, please, and thank you. First, please use your microphone. Sorry, yeah, thank you. First page, select engineering, we almost $6,300 for the month of January. Can we get a little update? First page, second one down. What was that for, Mr. O'Malley?
Deputy Mayor Malante, members of council, Councilor Harris. Actually, those are for engineering work they've done on the south end.
On the south end?
Yeah, on the south end, the Heartland Commons area. So that's engineering work they've done on that.
We had more engineering work?
So that's part of the ongoing engineering and project management.
Oh.
Because of course of the highway access road and that, it's not being done with our sanitary tanks, and that was all part of that contract with that.
Okay, is this the same select engineering that made a couple little mistakes last year?
The ones that they came and they did a tendering error?
Yeah. Okay, how come we're still using them?
Because they are engineer of record and they've actually are managing the entire program.
Okay. Second page. If I just noticed, and I'm just questioning, just asking Mr. O'Malley, I noticed that why are we paying you a month in advance? Because I just noticed that January 23rd, it was for the contract for February 28th, up until February 28th, and then there was another one into March, so.
That is actually a personnel matter, so if the council wants to move in Cameron and discuss it, we can.
I can add that in the next meeting. Okay, for 4 down, second page, for the numbered company, the Jamies, 1348259, the payment, the $2,000 deposit. For the skid shack deposit. What'd you do for it?
Over here. This one here. Yeah, actually, if I can, Deputy Mayor Malonte, members of council, Councilor Harris, is, as you will see, is that in our, on the agenda today is actually a request to, purchase, a capital purchase for the shack, basically an actual trailer that will go to an addition to our public works, and that's just actually a deposit to hold it until such time. And again, it's refundable, should council make a decision not to purchase.
So, we paid them already, and then we're asking?
We made a deposit to hold it.
Okay. 3 of 7, page 3 of 7. Do we pay Trinus $10,000 a month? What is it? 1, 2, 3, 8 down?
Yeah, well, that's it.
Third page.
Deputy Mayor Malonte, members of council, Councilor Harris, that it's an annual agreement that we have, and that's their monthly payment. As part of that, they provide wholesale services for IT for the town wide, for all of our computers, all of our network systems, and that's actually a full service contract fee on a monthly basis.
Okie dokie. Third from the bottom for Jada Solutions. What were we air quality testing?
Deputy Mayor Malonte, members of council, Councilor Harris, I was actually doing an air quality test for the town office.
For the town office?
Because actually there were some other issues that were being, had in relation to, some sickness and such like that, so we actually, it may have been a workplace item, and so rather than to, let it go without actually doing any testing on it, we brought in a consultant to do a test to make sure that the building, because we did the addition onto the library, and it was a wooden floor, and it had some moisture underneath it, it's not the same foundation as the rest of the building.
Yeah.
And so there were some number of illnesses, cancers, and other things that were actually experienced by our staff. So we wanted to make sure that it was as an air quality or building issue. So we brought in a consultant to verify to make sure that wasn't the case under workplace health and safety.
So what was the outcome of that?
Everything is good.
I'm out of business. Okay, 3 down for Madsen's custom cabinets for $25,000.
Yeah, actually, Deputy Mayor Malonte, members of council, Councilor Harris, this was actually the town's contribution towards the library's anniversary, and this was one, basically part of their money that was approved by council to do that. As our contribution, we paid for it because then that way we got the DST as a full rebate.
Sorry,
So
say that over
we paid
again?
for council,
Yeah.
donated money or contributed money towards the anniversary upgrade of the library.
Okay.
And the money was actually spent to upgrade the master desk or the main desk in the library. And so we put it through us because we got the full rebate on the GST,
You always get the rebate on the GST.
and that was what we paid.
So where is this $25,000 circulation desk? Is that, is it?
If you were at their grand opening, reopening, it's actually what they use as their new main desk now.
Okay. And page 5 of 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from the bottom. The trailer mounted message board for $51,000.
With that is that Deputy Mayor Malonte, members of council, those were actually sign message signs that we have. Want to elaborate, Eric?
Deputy Mayor Malonte, members of council, Councilor Harris. These are 3 electronic working signs that we have now been using around town. If you might have seen them. One by the arena now letting people know we're doing water meters. We had one in Williams Park. Since we started using them, today they installed 10 meters in that area. We are now getting people's attention, and They can not only use for that, community service will be using them for all of their events, lighting up and letting people know what's going on around town.
Oh, wow, all right. And if no, that's good for now, thank you.
Counselor Berry? Yeah.
Yes, I was curious about one expenditure, and I think that was third down on the first page. 5 AFRAC radios and accessories. Can you explain those?
Yeah, Deputy Mayor Malonte, members of council, Councilor Berry, those are the AFRAC radios that are, the fire department is using, the emergency radio system. And so those are the new systems and they were the purchase. There.
Deputy Mayor Malonte, members of Councilor Berry, the whole area turned into AFRAC radios. The old analog ones were getting obsolete. These now, we have excellent communication, so the whole county changed over to that. Just about the whole province now, where our communication now is flawless. And even if you hit the button on top for emergency, the dispatch called and said, you have an emergency, something does that. We have no problem with any communication anywhere in our area now.
Excellent, thanks for the explanation.
Are there any other questions? A motion on the floor. Yeah, all in favor? Carried. Okay, 7.2, 2024 capital purchase and buyback program. I believe we have staff to present.
Deputy Mayor Malonte, members of council, purpose of this report is to request that council consider the following capital purchase for 2024. Public Works in 2021 purchased a JD 1585 terrain mower for $49,786. In 2024, the buyback value is $30,295 on the replacement for the price of $58,229.19. So the cost to the town is $27,927. And then again in 2021, 2 JDZ 950 mowers were also purchased on the buyback program. Value at that time was $13,110.84 each, and the buyback value is $89.93 each. The replacements of these two would be $17,921.74. Cost to the town is now $8,928.74 each. The 2024 capital cost for these 3 replacements would be $45,784.67. And when council approved the interim budget back in December, we had in that budget $77,000 for the replacement of the mowers. So administration is requesting that you consider this purchase.
Motion.
I'll move that the council authorize the purchase of a JD 1585 and 2 JD Z95 950M lawnmowers.
Discussion. Councilor Yushishin?
Just want to clarify, through the interim capital budget, we'd already approved 77,000, cost us 45, so we're actually saving about 30,000 on it.
Yep. That explains my question.
Councilor Harris?
I'm confused. When we passed when the interim budget was passed, I didn't think that it had any additional spending on there. I mean, we didn't have very much time to review it, so I thought that it was just an interim budget and then we were with no new spending. Am I incorrect in my thinking? Sorry.
Deputy Mayor Malonte, members of council, Councilor Harris, with the interim budget being passed, it gave the approval to certain expenditures that were there last year. In that budget, it was budgeted that we had $77,000 for it. But because it actually is intern, it wasn't fully approved. That's why it's here in front of council now with this, asking for approval to move forward with that purchase. Because the agreement was with any purchase with it under that budget, it would come forward to council for its approval before proceeding with the purchase. That's why we're here today.
we wait till we need lawnmowers and we get a better look at our budget?
Deputy Mayor Malonte, members of council, Councilor Harris, we're in a buyback program every 3 years for our mowers. We do not put a lot of hours and we take care of our mowers, so we get top price every 3 years and we buy them back. Hence why we get a reduction of about $30,000+ on mowers when we stay on this program and do the buyback. So we get top dollar for our mowers when we trade them in, and we get our mowers a lot cheaper. They last another 3 years, we trade them in again. It's an ongoing program we've been on for probably about 6-7 years now.
Can I ask another question here? Anybody else have any? Okay, so we don't use our mowers, we don't put very many, how many do we have? 3?
We have these 3.
Yeah.
And then we have a bigger, Toro that we use for the bigger, wider areas along the ditches, and we do a buyback on that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so these are used, well, then again, if it doesn't rain, we're not gonna cut the grass, there's no grass to cut. But if it rains, there's lots of grass to cut, and they're gone steady all summer. The mowers never stop if it's raining, you get the grass going.
Is it possible that we only trade, say, 1 in and keep the, other 2?
Then we're gonna lose money in the long run. That wouldn't be a good thing for us to do, because then the value will drop very low, and we won't get the value we're getting.
If you want to kind of explain what buyback program is, because there's certain conditions that we have to meet in order to get that. Because if we wait and hold on to them, then they don't qualify for the buyback.
Right, but after a certain amount of years, they don't qualify. It's a 3-year program, and John Deere comes up with this. It saves them, and they can resell them, and they get the best bang for their buck in the same thing. And we've been doing, like I said, 3 years, and it's been working fine. And if it doesn't work, we get rid of it. It didn't work with the tool cats, so we dropped them.
Get a motion on the floor.
Can I have a recorded vote, please?
Those in favor? Opposed? Okay, 7.3, 2024 capital purchase. Staff
Deputy Mayor
present.
Malonte, members of council, the purpose of this report is to request the council consider the following capital purchase for 2024. Public Works has outgrown its physical space. Presently, there are 5 persons occupying 1 office space. Staff are working off the corner of someone else's desk. Administration is proposing the purchase of a 12 by 52-foot office skid shack delivered to Gibbons for the price of $33,000. Gas hookup would be $2,750, and electrical would be $2,186, with a total cost of $37,936.50. Public Works would be able to add 3 new offices for staff to occupy. In the interim budget that was initially approved by council, the purchase of a half-ton truck for the price of $45,000 was included. Public Works has removed that item from the capital budget and would like to replace that item with the office skid shack. So it's a difference of $5,000. Administration is respectfully requesting the council consider the topic.
Councilor Brady.
I move that council authorizes the purchase of a 12 by 52-foot office skid shack for the maximum cost of $40,000, and this becomes a part of the 2024 capital budget.
Question. Councilor Yushin.
The only concern I have here is if there's already 5 people occupying 1 office, and this new space is gonna give us 3 new offices, what does that do for kind of future planning? Are we gonna be looking at this again in a year because we're running out of space again? What's that gonna look like?
Deputy Mayor Malonte, Councilor Yushin. With any luck, we'll have new public works building funding. But as the town grows, so do we, and as our services grow. So I'm adding to our water section because we have been going steady in water. So all of their supplies and everything also got to be stored in this building. This building was designed way before I started, and it was designed for them, not for the teachers. So as we bring on more staff and start working, our building is shrinking and we're expanding. And this is just going to enhance and get more office space. We have map boards that are map cases that are upstairs that we gotta move so people can work. And they're just not finding the room because everything's computerized now and trying to hook things up. So all we're doing is trying to expand this and to make it a more workable and safe environment for all.
And my understanding is not that this is a solution for a long time in the future. It is something that will make your jobs easier until such time as a new public works building can be built.
Councilor Berry, yes, that is true. And just to add to that, we only have one washroom in our public works building. We are adding our own, doing our own work to add one more toilet in there. Because we have 3 female and 7 male, and one washroom does not work. So we're trying to do our best to do our own to keep the place workable and safe.
Thank you.
Councilor Harris.
I don't mean any disrespect to you or the employees there. This is actually a genuine question. Does it public works work out in the town? Like, why would we need office space at 33 grand for office workers or workers that would typically be out on the road?
Councilor Harris, our water section alone has documents, holds documents for Environment Canada, Environment Alberta. Our water meters are all registered and every meter is logged. Any vehicles coming in, we have records in all our vehicles, the maintenance on them and everything. We try to have a place to store everything. They've got to sit down and do paperwork. Our weed sprayer has to have a computer to make sure everything is logged for the environment as they come to check us. There's a lot of internal paperwork that's done in that office that a lot of people don't see.
Just a suggestion, as opposed to, spending this amount of money on a building, has anybody looked into having tough books or laptops that the employees can take with them and do paperwork as they go?
They do have laptops and paperwork, and that's just part of the job. Everything, we still have maps from old buildings and the infrastructure in town that are still stored in that building that we still use.
So are we using it as a storage building mainly, or is this for?
It's gonna be, one end's gonna be a Parks and Rec office, the other's gonna be the weed spraying and plant office, the middle's gonna be water, wastewater, and then the rest of us will move into my office, and then we have upstairs where 2 other people will work up there.
Okay, thank you.
Further discussion?
How old is it? Oh, Councilor Willis.
Okay, you got me now. I don't know how old the building is. I can look at somebody in the room who might know. It's been here well before me. I honestly, Council, I don't know the age of my building.
No, not, like the shack.
You're talking about the actual trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I know how old your building is now, but the trailer.
The actual, I'd have to check on that. It's just a basic building with a center room and 2 offices. There's no sink, nothing in it. It's just a basic space. We'll put heat into it and electrical.
Any further discussion?
Recorded vote, please.
Those in favor? Opposed? Old business, so, point 9, old business for live stream update, who's that?
Deputy Mayor Belmonte, members of council, Chris, would you care to provide an update on the live streaming conditions?
So we had Long and McQuaid come into to the council chambers, and they've installed microphones at each staff desk, as you can see. There's still some work that has to be done. He's done some wiring to move the IT equipment from this desk over to currently where Ms. Romali and Ms. Jeffries are sitting. He also is going to have to do some work on the camera because he's putting it out. Once all that is done, we'll be able to live stream, but as it stands right now, he's in Hawaii, so unable to come in this week. Hopes to finish it up by when he starts coming back again next week. He's a bit of an enigma. I don't know when he's going to show up exactly, but when he's here, he does good work. So
any estimated time of completion?
I am hoping that we can live stream by March, but I don't want to give an actual date and then have to tell you a different date. So I am hoping for March, but again, it's going to depend on how the wiring goes moving this equipment over.
Thank you.
Any further discussion?
I'll make a motion to accept this information.
Those in favor? Those opposed? Moving over to 11.1, bylaw ALT 1-24, local improvement tax bylaw, Heartland Cottages.
Deputy Mayor Malonte, members of council, this is follow up to the previous meeting where we had first reading was provided by council for this bylaw. And this is actually to identify the costs that are associated with the project and then identify how they're going to be collected on a per lot basis. And so with it, it's being a local improvement, meaning that all of the expenses that are charged with this project and associated will be collected directly out of the revenues created by the sale of these lots only. There is no public tax dollars associated with this as a net. It is all recovered by the sale of the lots and recovered with that. And in order to do it, you need a bylaw in place that associates it to each of the 36 lots.
Any questions? Looking for a motion first.
I'll make a motion for a second reading of local improvement tax bylaw number ALT 1/24.
Questions now? Councilor Harris?
Why the brush? We don't even, their pre-sale is not sold, and it's 9 that we have right now, right?
If I could, Deputy Mayor Malonte, members of council, the threshold was a pre-sale of 9, and we have achieved that. And so, of course, you have 9 people that have considered waiting to move forward with the purchase of their house, and so we're actually looking to do the groundwork and service work that's required in order to do this. And because we've reached that threshold, we're looking to move forward with it. And of course, the tender for that was brought at the previous meeting, pending the financing of it, and which is related to basically the local improvement bylaw, and that's how it'll be collected. And so with it, they'll go hand, step for step. And so because people have been waiting for a period of time now in order for this to move forward, and now it's also we're approaching the construction season, and so otherwise it gets delayed, the hospitals have to do the work.
My concern is that we started out needing 50% pre-sale, and then it was requested that we lower it to 25% pre-sale. And they're not sold though, right? They're on a $5,000 refundable deposit.
Yeah.
So we're
people that are ready to move forward with it and enter into agreements to purchase. But in order to do that, we need to guarantee that the project's moving forward. Then they'll be doing that in the next phase.
okay, but we couldn't get 50% pre-sale, which is why we lowered it to 25% pre-sale. It's not an actual pre-sale because they're refundable deposits should the people decide that they don't want to build, correct?
Actually, in relation to do it as part of the pre-sale, actually most projects that you look at pre-sale they'll do a deposit, they don't do a full payment down.
Like,
No, and in all due
worst
respect,
case scenario.
in worst case scenario is as we move forward with it is when it was brought forward, and I believe it was yourself that made the motion to reduce it to 25, which is appreciated to do that because there's a number of people in town that would like to move forward with this. In order to do it, is once again we had a person today comes in that's interested in actually being number 10, and so they're looking to do that. And in order to do it, we need to be able to commit the people to this project moving forward. And hence why the administration has brought this forward and it's been tendered to do that. So we're just moving this forward as it needs to, so people can know that we can move forward with the next stage, which is confirming everything and getting all the sale agreements in place. So that's where we're at now.
Call the question.
Councilor Berry?
She can't ask.
I have a bit of a question and, okay. What is going to happen is that all of the purchasers of the lots for this subdivision will be responsible for the costs incurred by the engineering or the in-ground engineering that's going to take place. Have you got an idea of how much each purchaser will have to pay in order to pay for that? Well, they're already paying for their house and they're paying for their lot, is this money that they will owe for the infrastructure included in the cost of the lot, or is this in addition to the cost of the lot? I guess I'm trying to get my head around what's this going to cost people.
So with it, Deputy Mayor Lalonte, members of the council, Councilor Berry, actually the cost of the lot covers all of the costs for construction, all of the engineering, all of the studies that were done, all of the other costs for any interest that would be associated with any of the financing. All of those are borne down into a cost per square foot, and it's attributed to each lot based on the total number of square foot per lot. So it's, everything is proportionate and even, and it does include all the costs. The additional cost of someone buying a unit, of course, would be the cost of the house, the cost for the pad that they put it on, be it 4-foot crawl space, or if they want to put a basement, they have that choice depending on the nature of the lot, and any cost to move it and just put it on site. It also, as part of the cost of the lot, would also be fencing, that there would be a perimeter fence that would put between the properties and the river. So those costs are built into the cost as well. And so when they pay that covers that cost.
All right, thank you.
You didn't answer the question as usual. What is the cost average of a lot?
Sorry,
That's what she asked.
Right.
I asked her to call the question.
This is debate, Councilor
I called the
Sandal. This is
question.
the time.
You must have a vote.
Point of order.
Yeah, we are gonna put this to vote. We have a motion on.
I'd like a recorded vote, please.
Those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Move to third reading.
I'll move for third reading.
Councilor.
Can we ask questions again? Am I allowed to, Councilor Sandal? Just asking. Where will this put us in our, at our debt, with our, debt, load right now? Because I believe we're close to 10, correct? Well,
This
we still have to put out money though.
Yeah, that'll be in the next bylaw, which is the borrowing bylaw, that has that right now.
Okay. Recorded vote, please.
Those in favor? Opposed? Carried. 11.2, bylaw ALT 2-24, local improvement borrowing.
motion.
Deputy Mayor Malonte, members of council, in relation to, the purchases and the groundwork and everything of these lots of the subdivision is actually because we have 9 pre-sales and we were actually being able to fund those directly, from their sales, because what will happen is those monies will be held in trust by our legal counsel, and so therefore they'll be forwarded to the town prior to the end of the year for the construction when they're going to get put on site. And so we're only needing to borrow money to cover up the other 27. And so that's in there, and the bylaw carries that and meet that. Just in relation to the cost of these, it's actually when you do local improvement bylaws, it's broken down basically on a per acre basis, then you put it down into a per square foot cost, and then you spend it down into a lot. And so with it is that there was a schedule that was to be attached with this that had actually a breakdown of all the lot costs. And we can certainly provide that as well and make that public, because of course that's going to be available for the public as it is. Yeah, but with it as it goes through is we're looking to borrow the $3,010,000 that will cover all the costs associated with this. And so the actual cost for a lot based on 3,600 square feet is the cost would be $101,880 as a base cost plus $27,288 in interest, which basically is about $129,060, $129,168 for an average 3,600 square foot lot with interest out of everything else.
At today's value of money.
Excuse me, unfortunately, you can't speak.
Oh, I'm aware.
I do have the right to ask people to leave if they do continue to disrupt council. Thank you. Any further questions?
Just if I could, I might be able to, when we set the price of the lots based on the local improvement schedule, those costs of the lots stay that cost. 5 years down the road, it can stay that cost as well if it's unsold. Because what we're doing is we're covering the cost that we expend and the interest associated with borrowing. We're not adding any profit to it. So this way, because we're handling, doing this development, those costs, that's the number that cost of that lot is in 5 years or 2 years. It doesn't, because it's all done on a per proportionate basis on the actual cost per square foot. So if your lot is 4,300 square foot, then it's the cost per square foot times 4,300. And if it's actually 2,900, which it is, it'll actually be the cost per square foot times 2,900. So it's all proportionate. And that price stays the same.
So very good.
Does that cost stay the same, say, 15 years from now, 20 years from now? Assuming that they've taken out a purchaser takes out a mortgage to cover the cost of the lot and the house. After the local improvements have been completed and the town has recouped the amount of money that they put forward in order to complete the local improvements, does that cost per lot, is the cost to the purchaser the same?
So just if I could, Deputy Mayor Malonte, Councilor Berry, is that once the lot is purchased, all of the costs the town recovers its money as part of the local improvement at that time. Once the purchaser puts a property on there, or a house on there, then they basically become assessed, and the purchaser can choose to sell it for whatever they wish. By the time they put it on there, let's say it's $325,000, that's the landed cost of everything. And and the market says it's worth $375, they can choose to sell for $375. We don't add any more. They then become more. So if there's any
And
problem.
when they take out their mortgage, essentially the amount that they're taking out includes the payback to the town for what they have put into the infrastructure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I caught it.
Councilor Harris?
In the background information is, administration states that $380,000, give or take, will be the yearly revenue that's anticipated. In the background, about third sentence up, says each acre per year over the term of the borrowing and will provide $381,664.26 in yearly revenue to the town, providing the funds that will be required to meet the town borrowing bylaw commitments. So is that $381,000 that is anticipated, is that once all 36 lots are sold? Am I asking the right question? Like, once everybody's sold,
Then there would be no other payment.
no, it says yearly revenue to the town, providing the funds.
No, this is because this is actually revenue that would be paid back through the local improvement charges. That would actually be built into the purchase of the lot. So with all the lots are sold, it recovers all the money, the entire debt is paid off. There's no other payment on an annual basis outside of what it would generate in tax revenue. And that's all members, there's no additional, once you buy the lot, there's no annual cost that owner has to pay going forward.
Okay, then maybe I'm mistaken, because I'm reading right here.
Yeah.
Each acre per year over the term of borrowing, right? It says 3,600 square feet, foot lot, each acre per year over the term of borrowing and will provide $381,664 in yearly revenue to the town.
Through the purchases of the local improvement, if they had to.
Right, so
Right.
what I'm saying is that if we only have 9 now or 10 now that are reserved.
Right.
We're not actually going to recoup anything until all 36 lots are sold and in private people's hands, right? Like, I mean, until the lots are sold, we own it.
Right.
Like,
We own the lot, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Which means that if they're not sold for another 3 years, we still are paying for the, like, we're doing the carrying costs.
We're in the interim, but all the carrying costs are actually built into the actual lot price.
Right.
As well, so if we carry it for, let's say, 2 years, once that lot is sold, it actually factors in all the interest that we pay to carry that in the interim as well. So meaning it, let's say at the end of the day, based on this, is all 27 lots are sold, be it 1 year or 10 years, the entire interest and everything associated with that borrowing is all recovered.
So
Because it's factored into the lot price.
the interest will be factored into the,
Yeah, you bet, everything. All the costs.
well, why would somebody buy a lot 3 years down the road? I'm just concerned because the Heartland Meadows, there's a whole bunch of lots that are still, no shovels in the ground.
Right.
Right? So,
But at the end, when all of them are filled, they recover all the money that it's cost us to carry it as well. So at the end of the day, the ratepayer won't pay anything at the end of the day. But it's all said and done, all the money is recovered.
well, that's not entirely true though.
Yes,
I mean,
it
we're right now, and we're carrying it until they're sold,
But then all the interest is factored, that everything that we're paying on.
but
the
somebody has to pay it in the meantime.
In the interim, yes, but
So
then
we
it's
have
all
to-
of that cost, true.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that when everything is sold, all of the money that people are paying now, or so to speak, is all recovered and replaced.
Right. But the town is paying the interest I just want clarification.
It pays interest on the borrowing.
Counselor Barry, this is
Yeah.
important information and I'm asking genuine questions. I
Yes.
don't understand.
I don't have a problem. I have an additional question. I'm just next in line.
Okay, sorry, I thought,
No,
Pardon
that's why I
me.
haven't called her up.
that it's not making sense to me, so maybe your question will.
Counselor
Well,
Berry?
the only other question I have is, I understand that once all of the lots are sold, the town will have recouped all of what they have put out in order to, make these lots ready to have houses on them.
Yes.
Is the town going to make any additional money over and above what will have to be recouped to pay for the local improvement?
In what we built into is some of it is a portion of funds for staff time to do this. You know, we built into the price, a total of $175,000 covers all the staff time that's anticipated, that has been done, that's been expended all the way through this to help with this. That is the total cost and that's the actual cost. And so therefore, outside of that, we have not added any profit. On a typical development, the profit margin that's added to a development is between 60 to 80% of the actual cost. So if you take a look at the average cost or the average lot, if we were to add 16 to 20% on, let's say, $100,000 lot, you're adding anywhere between $16,000 and $20,000 to every lot for profit. But we're not doing that. And in fact, is that somebody that goes and buys it, actually then when they go to sell it on market, would be able to actually add that value in because other properties have it. So, because the assessed value would be based on market, not what it actually costs to do what we did, and we're not adding profit. The other thing is that all of the cost of land cost, we recover all of that we put in. All of the work that was done with it gets recovered. It takes a piece of land that really was sitting there doing generally nothing times, and then if you went on an average cost of a lot, 3,600 square foot lot, and let's say the average property is $300,000 all in, 36 times 300 is new assessment. So you're upward between 11, 12, $13 million in new assessment, which is tax revenue that the town generates what it wasn't doing.
Okay, can I ask one more question?
Just a reminder, we are looking for motions while we're having thoughtful discussion.
Okay, one more question. I think what Amber has been attempting to clarify is the town out of pocket for the money that is owed by each of the owners of the future owners of these properties? It takes 5 years for a certain number of properties to be sold. We're still having had to pay
In terms of carry.
to carry it. Are we out of pocket? And if I think I've understood you to say that we are, in the sense that we are paying interest on the loan that we will have to take out in order to do this. However, it will be recouped when those lots are sold.
Right. And all of the interest, all of that we would borrow at is all factored into the lot price.
Right.
So whereas if you were to buy before you had to finance it, let's say your current and your pre-sale, that your lot might be 100,000. But then if you are, let's say, buying 8 months after the borrowing's been solidified, that lot is now going to cost $127,000 because we have to include the interest. And because we have to guarantee that actually through the finance company, depending on who we use, then that would have to be recovered. And then that's all built into the price.
Well, that's my last question. Thank you.
Going for
One more. Now I will ask. I noticed that our outstanding debt currently, as of the end of December of 23, is $9,581,905.80. With this additional, 3 million, is that not over our debt limit?
It's 5
That was, Deputy Mayor Valente, council members, that was with using the 2022 figures. Using the 2023 figures, our debt limit is at $15,159,097.50.
Our debt limit was, sorry, I just didn't hear that. I just didn't hear you, Minnie.
As of using the 2023 figures,
Yeah.
our debt limit is at $15,159,97.50. Including this borrowing, if it's approved, we are at 83% of our debt limit. We still have debt limit remaining of $2,563,891.70.
I thought our debt limit was 10.
I'll move second reading of the tax borrowing bylaw, 02-24.
Thank you, Councilor Sandal. Those in favor?
Recorded vote, please.
Oh my God.
Opposed?
I'll move for third reading.
Councilor Colzat? Those in favor?
Recorded, please.
Opposed? Eleven point three, bylaw ALT 3-24, short-term borrowing bylaw, there's one subdivision. Staff to present.
Deputy Mayor Valente, members of council, this project ties in with the cottage subdivision as well, because the contract was let out together. So the prices, and this total subdivision is to protect the sewer infrastructure in that area, should the bank flop into the river. This way, they would protect the sewer system throughout the town, because the people that living in that subdivision would lose their sewer system completely. The purpose of this report is to respectfully request that council consider establishing a short-term bylaw in the amount of $951,967 that's being utilized to cover the cost of upgrading and safeguarding the town subdivision sewer system by adopting the short-term borrowing bylaw, ALT-24. And taking into consideration the previous bylaw that was approved and this bylaw that's being presented, brings the town at 87.72% of its borrowing limit, leaving $1,861,924.70 still available in the borrowing limit. Administration is pressing for fees.
On for a motion.
Recorded, please.
I'll make the motion.
Councilor Colzat. And the motion would be for first reading.
First reading.
Thank you. Just want to
Sorry.
get clarity.
Yeah.
Those in favor? Opposed? Carried. 11.4, 6-24, short-term borrowing bylaw for the Gibbons Fire Department fire truck. Staff to present.
Deputy Mayor Valente, members of council, this bylaw is brought before you as well to allow for the funding of the new fire truck for the town of Gibbons. And we have reached out and were approved for $160,000 of that through the MSI grant. Therefore, the borrowing bylaw is for the remainder of the truck, which the truck cost is $790,832. So remaining from to borrowing is $630,832. And that will bring your borrowing powers down to leaving $300,709.86 available to be borrowed. Administration is presentation.
It's only January.
Wow. Wow.
Ask for a motion.
I'll move, first reading of, bylaw Alt 6-24.
Call for question,
No, we have discussion?
for discussion.
Okay.
Counselor Harris?
Monique, you said that our, we have left for borrowing was what?
$300,000.
$301,709.86. You're at 98% of borrowing.
Okay, and what's our, I was just looking through the calculation sheet, sorry, some of my eyeball, I can't see anything. Man, what did it say? Oh, it's, yes, please, the debt limit is 2 times the revenue, just the page 2 of 4 for the calculation sheet, I just don't.
That is a formula that is provided to us by the government.
Yeah.
To calculate our debt limit. I put in the numbers and it calculates it.
Okay, so what is, it says that most municipalities is 1.5 times the revenue is is the debt limit. What's our revenue? Page 2 of 4. Right, am I on the right one?
Our revenue is $10,106,065.
Okay. All right, thanks.
Counselor Berry?
I'd like to ask a question. It feels like not very long ago we purchased another fire truck. So I'm having a little bit of a problem understanding the reason why we need to purchase another fire truck at this time. Could you give me the background on that?
Deputy Mayor Malonte, Member Council, Councilor Berry, the 2 trucks we purchased, it was 2. We got, 2 2004 trucks for $60,000. A truck's frontline pumper life is 20 years. We're at that this year. We ordered this truck, 2 years ago. COVID sort of slowed everything down. This will give the town a frontline pumper for the next 20 years. And as we grow, we'll need a frontline pumper in this town. The other engine we have is 1/3 owned by us, the 2/3 owned by the county, which is a 2011 and only get 9 years left on it. So we're sort of pushing our luck, and this will give us another truck for 20 years and have a frontline pumper in this town, which protects the citizens of this town.
Thank you for that. I do understand what you're saying, but when I look at our debt limit and how close we are to reaching that limit, I really hesitate to want to make a purchase such as this now. So I'm wondering, what is the impact if we delay this purchase?
Councilor Berry, the truck is pretty well 2/3 built. I guess we would have to find out what they would do if we did not purchase it.
Deputy Mayor Malonte, members of council, Councilor Berry as well, is this fire truck has been on our books and been part of our budget for a number of years, actually planning. We put it aside and it was brought forward, we look at when the time to bring this forward to do this. And actually the time because of the dollars and everything like that, it became, make more sense to do that now. And I know that Eric has also been working on one of the trucks that we did purchase, that was used in 2004, I believe we'd be having a sale for one of those, which would then take us down to one. And actually, one backup truck as well, while we're fighting.
Councilor Harris?
Somebody call for a vote already? Was there a motion?
Yeah.
There's a motion, but there is, okay.
We're still in discussion.
What happens if, we have an emergency and we have to borrow more than 300 grand? Which means it'll take us over the debt.
Can you repeat that? I didn't.
Oh, I said, what happens if, you know, we have an emergency in the future and we are at, you know, 98% or whatnot of our debt limit? What do we do? Because we're liable if we vote against, if we vote for something knowing that it'll take us over our debt limit, then we can get in trouble, so I wanna know.
Then an application is made to the minister to allow us to go over our debt limit.
Why? The bank.
And that happens all the time.
If I could just, Deputy Mayor, I want to take that as a council. The council is aware that we've been working on our Southland project for quite some time. There's large-scale piping and infrastructure services that need to go in. Council's been briefed on this on an ongoing basis as what that cost would be. And in fact is that coming up in the new meeting that we'd be looking to potentially call as a special meeting would be able to fund that infrastructure services. Which would be actually, with that project, would be about 16.1 million. And this is something that council's been very well aware of for quite some time in order to fund those services. And that's the right scale infrastructure on the west and south side that would fund or to service itself. And this is something that's on the table and we're trying to forward. So this is something that we've already talked to the minister about. So just put that on the table.
Okay, I think everyone's through with asking questions. I'll ask the final question on my end. You mentioned GSI funding. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that? Is that EFF that's changed, or is that MSI funding from prior? And can you explain that a little bit more?
In the last 2 years, we've applied for $80,000 a year from the MSI.
And that MSI is the funding from the province, correct?
It is.
So if there is a funding that's been given from the province for the purchase of the truck as well.
That's true.
Thanks for the clarification. Okay. Yeah, motion on the floor.
I'd like a recorded vote, please.
Those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Policy 81-24, municipal facility alcohol and cannabis policy. Yeah.
Deputy Mayor Malonte, members of council, in doing this in order to have the policy regarding where cannabis and alcohol is allowed to be sold, is that we need to have a policy that's in place to do that. And as council can see with the policy that's put forward, it lays out where those such locations within our boundary can be and where we would allow those type of sales to happen and the kind of conditions and functions that we would. So if there's any questions from the council regarding it, it would be approved.
Councilor Berry?
I'll move that council approve policy GA 18-24 municipal facility alcohol and cannabis policy.
Thank you. Call the question for discussion. Councilor Harris?
Was the only thing that changed in here was the arena and the museum were added?
Yes, it would.
That's it? Okay.
Councilor Sandon?
The Gibbons school is not included on that. Is there no, because it says here Lion Trail joint use, is there no joint use area at Gibbons school?
It's actually with that, it's going to be under one solid joint use agreement that will have in place. So it'll actually be just any school within town.
Okay.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous. Moving on to staff reports, 12.1, administration.
Deputy Mayor Malante, members of council, our Family Day weekend events are coming up this weekend. So February 17th, we have our Gibbons curling bonspiel, and the 18th, we have activities at the arena and our cultural center, including our council. So look forward to seeing everyone there. February 17th is Random Acts of Kindness Day, and February 28th is Pink Shirt Day. I did also, as part of Kindness Month in Gibbons, as February. It's been great to see a lot of our businesses and community spaces with their pink box decorations as well as promotions and items. So I'm really happy to see this taking off this year for our first proclaimed Kindness Month. In March 10th, we have an International Women's Day Lunch and Laugh event, and that one sold out extremely fast. We added 25 extra seats, and that sold out within half an afternoon. So fantastic going forward with that event. Our Gibbons Family Resource Center is hosting 3 income tax clinics coming up in March and April. And right now we're currently accepting applications for all of our seasonal summer positions. So that is 2 programmers, a museum coordinator, and 3 public works positions. You can look at that on our careers page.
Councilor Barry.
Congratulations on having 3 income tax clinics. I know they're going to be well used, and I hope that you're forced to have a 4th.
And you know, Councilor Berry, that we have already completely filled one of those seats from my understanding. So I believe that they will fill up, and if we are able to add a 4th, we will do our best to do so as well.
Deputy Mayor Malate, members of council, corporate services has been working on the final 2023 audit, which is scheduled for the 3rd week in March. Also working on the 2024 capital budget, and we're working on 2024 grant applications.
Deputy Mayor Malante, members of council, we met with the general manager from the Goose Summit today to discuss the golf tournament. It's scheduled for June 21st this year out at the Goose. The holding date invitations should be going out by early next week. Also looking at doing a business breakfast sometime in March. Details to follow.
Deputy Mayor Malate, members of council, public works. We're getting a lot of meters installed, like I stated earlier, like 10 today, and they're moving along. And we even accommodate on weekends if necessary if people can't make it. So the meter program's going along good. And we're completing a bunch of various small jobs, and that's because my last point, snow removal, has been fairly good. There hasn't been a lot of snow, so we can get a lot of these little things done. So, fire department for 2024, we have 18 town calls and 22 county calls. And we haven't had any calls for about 6 to 7 days now, which is a good thing for people, but a bad thing for firefighters. So, memberships at 27, and our main focus is their level 1 course, and they seem to be doing really well. Project updates, the cottages, the construction start date is to be determined on the meeting coming up on the 20th of this month. Memorial Park is yours.
So the town has applied for an accessibility grant that can go towards the matching funds of our CFEP grant for Memorial Park. So currently we're just waiting on the status of that grant so that we can move forward with that project and get a little bit more information out there.
Heartland Station, the last one, A&W is expected to open, I'm gonna say in the next couple of weeks, if all goes well. Grocery store construction expected to start mid-March, of course that's weather dependent. And then the retail unit construction, they figure they'll start that about mid-May. The other side of the highway for the XLD cell lane. Should be starting, we figure around May, they should be complete by June, and then the lights, we're hoping to be in by the end of the summer. So that should move along pretty good there.
Any questions? Councilor Mary, go ahead.
I do. Where is this XL and DCell lane going to be? The reason I'm asking is, there is a lane where that you can get off into before you go into that, area with A&W and Tim Hortons. If you're going south, if you're coming from from south going north, there is no lane that you can do.
That's one they're putting in.
That's the
They ran
one.
out of time last year,
Okay.
so that's the one they're putting in this year.
Okay, good. I'm glad to hear that. Thank you.
Any further questions? I do have a question as the chair, so I'm gonna wait till last. You mentioned we're at 27 firefighters right now. How many of them are actually trained? The reason why I asked is fire season for the last year or so has been pretty bad, where there's been activations all over Alberta, including areas close to us where we've had to provide reservations for those evacuate from the areas. For me, you know, being a firefighter in the past, this hits close to home, but I almost want to feel that your department, your fire department, is prepared for the upcoming season, and there has been talks that there's going to be a lot of fires. But again, we don't know where the weather's going to be. I just want to ask, what's our level of training for our 27 firefighters currently?
Mayor Rolante, so by end May, they will all be, the whole department, will be level 1, with more of us that have been there for a while, a lot more further trained. And we will be teaching them wildland firefighting right after that. We have our Lieutenant Douglas on my department, he teaches wildland firefighting, and we will be going through that in great detail.
Yeah, I have a feeling.
Wildland is already on my mind.
Okay, I have a feeling it's going to be all hands on deck.
Yeah.
Right? And what I mean by is all over Alberta.
I hope you're wrong.
I hope I'm wrong, I really do. But with the dry season we've had, things we have to watch out for. Thank you very much. Oh, go ahead.
Deputy Mayor Malonte, member of the council. As council is aware, administration has been forwarding some invoices to the Alberta Health Services in relation to our medical first responder services that we've been providing. Is that we have been receiving some notification that we have received some funds, and also some notification that other grant funds will become available as well. So we've been able to recover some of the funds that we expected.
Thank you.
About 23,000.
23,000? Okay, that's good to hear. Finally. Yeah. Any motion to accept? Councilor Berry?
I move to accept the
All in favor? Unanimous. Moving on to correspondence, looks like 14.1, but we have a 13. Committee reports. Oh, committee reports. Yeah, it's just the way it was indented, so my apologies. Let's move forward with committee reports. Let's start with Councilor Shishin.
On January 31st, I attended the Hydrogen Hub webinar on fuel cell refuse trucks. And on February 8th, on behalf of the mayor, I attended the Rose Ridge Waste Initiative meeting.
Councilor Berry.
And January 30th, I attended the library board meeting, and everyone was self-congratulating at the wonderful anniversary and grand reopening that we had. And if anyone has not been in the library since then, I invite you to do so. You will be pleasantly surprised.
Councilor Harris.
And on Friday, February 2nd, I took part in the Northern Lights Library System Policy Committee meeting. And I've missed something here. As I can tell, I have nothing more. I was assuming I had a homeland housing meeting, but I don't see it here. Oh, yes, I do.
And when was that, Councilor?
It is January 25th. I attended the Homeland Housing Board meeting.
Thank you.
26th of January, I attended the Edmonton Salutes Committee, and for all of those who know Jeannie Woodger, she's floating around up there today. This is unfortunately a year after her passing, so it's very fitting we have a council meeting today. She's laughing. I'm done.
Councilor Cole.
January 25th, Arrow Utilities Board meeting. January 31st, the hydrogen hub truck refuel. February 6th was the grade 6 class at Gibbons Middle School, which was way too much fun. February 7th was the Bourneville Chamber lunch. February 8th, the Arrow Utilities Board development meeting, and February 13th, the Diva coffee talk.
Okay, January 25th, I went to the Edmonton Global meeting in the city, which was kind of different because there's a number of, I shouldn't say a number, 3 of the groups are trying to get out of being members of Edmonton Global. January 31, went to Hydrogen, was the meeting on Zoom. February 7th, Morganville Chamber. February 8th, Victim Services meeting. Now, Victim Services now is like a committee of Sturgeon County. The province is changing it all to 4 regional victim services type of thing for the entire province. I have no idea how it's transitioning or where it's going because we haven't really received any information from the province, but they expect everything to be transferred over by September 1 of this year. The meeting discussed they have some cash and reserves and stuff, and so they decided to use it to support FCSS or family services in each of the towns of Sturgeon County only because it's basically that's where the money came from. So if you could pass it along to Laura, that there will be information coming out and she can apply for a significant portion of that money. But that's it, thanks.
And I'll close this with my report for committee reports. On January 25, I also attended the Edmonton Global in the city. Again, there are some municipalities that are looking to pull out, or they're on the fence on deciding whether they want to or not. And then I also attended the Shrimp Committee. For those of you who aren't aware of it, that's a Sturgeon Regional Emergency Management Partnership. That's where the municipalities within Sturgeon County have discussions. That's one of the reasons why I'm hard pressed about fire season, because the province provincial representative fire management services or emergency services indicated at the meeting that there's already fires happening in Alberta. Those of you who may be already aware, happened in the winter of 2023. To me, that's unheard of in my tenure as a volunteer firefighter in my past.
We got a few where they've been smoldering in the ground.
Yeah.
And,
unfortunately,
east of town.
Unfortunately, sir, we can have discussion after. That's I appreciate that. So with that, again, it's caused some concerns that we have to be prepared for. I'm not going to be here to be proven right. I'm hoping to be proven wrong on this. But again, that's something that the province truly indicated to us to be aware of and be alive to it. So again, I do appreciate the report that I received from our fire chief, and I'm hoping that we won't have to utilize all those services, but we need to be prepared. And that also starts at home with all of us. Thank you. That ends my report. Anyone for a motion to accept?
I'll move to accept for information.
Thank you, Councillor Sano. All in favor? Unanimous. From here, we have correspondence, 14.1, National Police Federation, motion to accept for information. Councillor Yushishin, thank you. And all in favor? Unanimous. I'd like to call a 10-minute recess.